Hey everyone, Jay Whitner here with Crowdfunding Coverage, our internet TV show that covers the monthly activity in the crowdfunding universe. We're brought to you by Kickstarter Coaching and the Space Finance Group. So on with the show. In November, there were 8 big crowdfunding campaigns. These big campaigns brought in about $11 million. The biggest campaign was a game. It was called Bears versus Babies. Raised $3 million. We'll talk about that a bit later. But first, the news. In the news for November, Kickstarter brought out a new feature, a live stream capability tied into campaigns. So if you're a creator, you can now have live video events on the internet, and your backers can watch and can interact with them and urge them on to bigger crowdfunding contributions, to posting about your campaign on social media and filling them in on what you're doing. So probably a good idea that Kickstarter is launched. As regular watchers know, equity crowdfunding has now been in place for several months. And what was interesting in November was the first instance I'm aware of a dual campaign, a campaign that was simultaneously having an equity crowdfunding campaign while they were doing a rewards campaign. They were doing the rewards on Indiegogo, equity crowdfunding on WeFunder. So we'll see if this is a trend. Speaking of Indiegogo, they in November finally have leapt into the equity crowdfunding space. This is a long-awaited move that has been expected, but they are the proverbial 800-pound gorilla with huge numbers of prior participants in the Indiegogo platform, and now they're offering equity crowdfunding. So it's too early to tell how that's going to play out, but presumably they're going to be a major player, and we'll see how that unfolds. Kickstarter has added a new country to the locations that people can launch campaigns from by adding Mexico. So welcome people of Mexico to Kickstarter, at least from the creator side. And we'll be looking forward to seeing what kind of campaigns we get from them and who's involved and so forth. So welcome to Kickstarter. Back to the equity crowdfunding space again. The platforms through which you can run your equity crowdfunding campaign are fairly limited in number, but we had gradual additions to the fold, and the count is now up to 21 different platforms that you can use to run your equity crowdfunding campaign on. The leader since things began has been WeFunder, and we'll have to see where Indiegogo falls into that after a few months goes by and we start to see what the trends look like. Speaking of WeFunder, they're doing something really unusual, very novel, which for WeFunder is kind of normal. They are offering for the holidays that you can give a holiday gift card through WeFunder that you basically are giving the gift of an equity stake in a startup. That you can give a $500 gift card to a friend, and they can then go on WeFunder and pick which of the startups they want to invest in. Very neat idea. We'll see if the public takes to that. Indiegogo is doing something novel that I'm not candidly sure is a great idea. They're trying out opening the Indiegogo platform to just regular products that people want to sell on their platform, that are not going through a crowdfunding process, just products. Indiegogo is trying this out. This is not something that they're as yet committed to, so we'll see if they want to continue with this or not as time goes by. But the big campaigns, as I mentioned before, there were 8 of them this time. They ranged in size from about $1 million to $3 million in money raised. The video length of the campaigns, which is important, ranged from a really, really short 36 seconds. That may be the shortest I've seen for a big campaign, up to about 3.5 minutes. Normally, I suggest 2 to 3 minutes is a good length for this sort of thing. The duration of the campaigns range from 23 to 60 days. 30 days is thought to be about a good length of time for most campaigns. The rewards, there was quite a range here with One campaign only offered 2 different rewards up to 17. I think 2 is a little bit on the skimpy side. I think to offer a choice of rewards at different price points is a good strategy. And then the updates. They range from 7 updates to 51. I tend to recommend 1 or ideally 2 a week if you have time to do them and you have enough activity to sort of justify them. That's something to talk about. So the campaigns themselves. The first one is the Eclipse. This is a tool that helps keeping your living room floor from looking like a cable factory exploded. So it's a neat system for charging your devices and keeping all that clutter-free. Some of the neat things they did in their campaign where they had little mini quotes from the media, short like excerpts from that, but they put them in a GIF so they were rolling, and you could see different ones through the campaign. So I thought that was an interesting touch. They offered their product in different colors and different wood surfaces for the top. I'm a big believer in this. If you can give your backers a choice, you should do that. It's good for you and good for them. And just make sure it doesn't run up your cost too much to do that. If you can, it's a good idea. They also offered a warranty. This is something you don't see consistently on Kickstarter or other crowdfunding platforms, but a very good idea. The next campaign was for a really high-end projector. Now I know that you probably have a projector already for your laptop. You go out and you want to do a presentation. I got one myself, but it's not like this. This is a 4K projector with all kind of great features, great sound, and so forth. So really a leap ahead in projector technology. Some of the things they did in their campaign is they had supplemental videos to explain all the features and how to use it and all that sort of thing. Feel free to do this if you want. You don't have to put everything in your main video, and you should not make your main video too long. So if you feel like you have extra things you need to explain through video, use the supplemental videos like they did, so to keep your main video manageable. They were very proud of their product and the features, so they had a comparison chart to compare their product to other products. So if your product fares well in an objective comparison, if the metrics look really good, well, put that in there, show that to the people. Also, they had prizes for people that successfully referred their friends and family, whatever, to the campaign. So if you had a certain number of referrals that were successful, you would get certain accessories for their product. The Polygons campaign was novel, and I thought a really good idea. We all have one or more groups of measuring spoons in our kitchen somewhere. This is a flat device that when you pick it up, depending on where you hold it, gives you different measuring sizes from the same device. So for example, maybe it's a half of a teaspoon one way that you're holding it, and it's a full teaspoon if you hold it in a different way. So an interesting notion. Some of the things they did for their campaign were they used multiple GIFs to show people using the product and how it was better than the traditional product. They also had something I don't think I've seen before, but videos of early prototypes of the product. I've seen people talk about the prototype process and have pictures of it, but I don't remember if I've really seen videos of it before, so that was a little bit different. Also, they offer customization for their product in certain volumes. So if memory serves, it was like if you wanted 50 of them, I think it was, you could put like your name or logo on this thing. So for example, if you were a company, let's say that you were some sort of cooking company and you wanted to give out holiday gifts. Maybe you want to buy 50 of them with your branding on it and give it out to people in your industry. So some interesting things and an interesting product. Next we have the SMOV campaign. This campaign is for a handheld stabilizer unit for shooting better video with your smartphone. So They're not the first to have done this. Other people have done it, but their product had some interesting features. Notably, it had a power bank built into the product, so your phone could be charging while you're on the move, taking video with it. In a more stable image, it can be charging at the same time. Some of the neat things they did with their campaign is they had early bird pricing, which rewards the people who stand up first to support the project. They had supplemental video, like I mentioned in one of these earlier campaigns. You're not limited to one video. And they had something that you see occasionally. They had a distributor pack, so you could buy 10 of these units at a more discounted price if you wanted to sell them in your retail store or something. But what was interesting is, in addition to this distributor package of 10 units, they also had an option for buying 100 more units at a certain price point. So I haven't seen that option aspect before, so something to consider in your campaign. Next we have physics. This campaign is for the beer gourmet who wants their beer just right, and their premise is that the best beer is fresh out of the tap at your local microbrewery or something. So they have this invention that you can take like a bottle of beer that you purchased, and you sort of put the bottle of beer into this machine, and it goes through this process that makes the beer just as good as if it had come fresh out of the tap. So some of the things that were novel about their campaign is they had extra cost accessories, things that you don't have to buy, that you can buy to go along with the product. In their case, it was sets of beer glasses that have the right ideal shape for the aroma of the beer and so forth. They also had a lot of supplemental videos. I think they had like a dozen supplemental videos in their campaign, maybe the most I've ever seen. So don't be afraid to do this if you want. And one of them, maybe more than one of them, was customer testimonials about how great their product is and how it really enhances the beer drinking experience. And testimonials are great. Video testimonials are the strongest. So keep that in mind for your campaign. If your development of your product is far enough along, you can have testimonials when you're running your campaign. That's money in the bank if you can do it. Next is the desktop Waterjet cutter. The maker movement is really big, and a lot of it so far has been confined to fairly soft materials. This allows you to make things with very tough materials, cutting things out of glass and tile and even steel using a Waterjet cutting device. Some of the neat things they did in their campaign were early bird pricing that we mentioned before. They had made good use of GIFs in their campaign to show their machine in action. And they had two basic styles of their machine. You could get one that was like a desktop unit, if you had like a workbench that you wanted to put this thing on top of, or you could buy it as a floor standing unit. Again, give your backers a choice if you possibly can. Next, we have Deep Madness. This was a game that did very, very well. They, as some of the other campaigns this month, they had a lot of supplemental videos for their campaign. As you see often in game campaigns, they have a ton of stretch goals. These are like 58 stretch goals that they reached along the way to concluding their campaign. And they apparently thought they were going to have an international type of a campaign, so they had translation packs in 4 different languages, so that if you're not a native English speaker, that you could participate in their game, and they were supporting that with these translation items for you. So have that in mind if you think that you have an international type of a campaign. And the big campaign was Bears versus Babies. This was a very odd campaign, a very odd game from people that have a reputation for that. This is the same people that did the Exploding Kittens game. I think that was like a year ago that they did that one. This game was a huge success, $3 million for a card game. Some of the things that they did is they had some optional additions to their game. So they advocated that this game was kid-friendly, which seems a bit counterintuitive. But they had this addition to the game if you wanted to have it be not so kid-friendly. They also had stretch goals for their campaign, but unlike some others, or unlike most others, when the stretch goals are financially related, if we hit a certain dollar amount, we'll add this thing. In their case, their stretch goals were based on achievements. These are things like how many backers you have, or social media posts, things that are not financial in nature. And I guess partly what made this be a successful campaign, such a huge one, was not only that they had prior experience, street cred on Kickstarter, but it was like a weirdly humorous kind of a game that I guess caught people's attention and got media coverage, which was beneficial to them. So that's it for our presentation about November 2016. Feel free to visit Kickstarter Coaching or the Space Finance Group at these addresses here if you want to learn more about crowdfunding. And we'll see you, we'll see you early next year talking about what happened in December. So happy holidays to you, and we'll see you soon.